See, good to be back. Good to see you all.
Hare Krishna, welcome Maharaj. Back to you, Jim. It's been a long hiatus for a few weeks, and we've all been greatly anticipating your return. We're going to get started with you, Jim, as we do every week with a prayer. If you'd like to give, or if you'd like to nominate someone for the prayer, feel free to put it in the chat. And if you second that nomination, please let us know, and then we'll have that devotee give the prayer. Do you have any nominations so far? We have a nomination for Arya from Mayuri, and Maharaj seconds it. Arya, would you like to give the prayer? I'm going to put the format in the chat for you.
Dear Radha Krishna, if you so desire, please if you so desire that this class will go successful, please consider our humble request.
Thank you, Arya. What a wonderful prayer. And I will hand it over to you, Maharaj, for the rest of the program.
Well, my inclination is to chant a chapter of Bhagavad Gita, but I would like to see where everybody's oriented with the Bhagavad Gita these days. I've been doing the last half of the 11th canto, but maybe it switched over.
I think it's still the last half, the second half of the 11th chapter.
Okay. I'm rather enjoying that chapter. So, is everybody up for that? Okay. And we'll start with Sanskrit, maybe 5 each. It's good?
We could do 10 maybe?
Do 10 each?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I volunteer to start. Rupam mahate bahubhaktra mahabaho bahu rupadam bahudaram bahudamshtra karalam drishtva loka pravdyati tastataham napashprisham deeptamaneka Vyatananam dipta vishalanetram Drishtva hi tvam pravyatitantaratma Dhritinna vindami shamam cha Vishno Tamshtra karalani cha te mukhani Drishtva kala nalasannibani Disho na jane na labhetra sharma Prasida devesha jagannivasa Amicha tvam dartarashtrasya putra Sarve sahaiva vanipala sangai Bhishmo drona sutta putrastata sau Sahas Madhyar apiyoda mukyai Vaktrani te twaramana vishanti Damshtra karalani bayanakani Kechid vilagna dashanantareshu Sandrishyante churnitar uttamangai Yata nadinam bahavom bhuvega Samudram eva vimukadravanti Tatatavami naraloka vira Vishanti vaktran yabijwalan Vishanti vaktran yabivijwalanti. Brajaras, tell me when I'm finished. Which one do I end on? I forget.
You'll end on 32.
Yata pradiptam jwalanam pratanga Vishanti nashaya sambriddha vega Tataiva nashaya vishanti lokas Tavapi Vaktrani Samriddha Vega Lileyase Leliyase Gras Samana Samantal Lokan Samagran Varanir Jwaladbi Tejo Bir Apurya Jagat Samagram Basastavogra Pratipanti Vishnu.
Akhyahi me ko Bhagavan Prabhu Namostute Devavana Prasiva Vijnanam Ichchami Bhavantamadhyam Nahi Prajnanami Tava Pravrittam Shri Bhagavan Vacha Kalasmi Lokashaya Krita Pravrido Lok Kalosmi Lokashaya Krita Pravrido Lokan Samahartum Iha Pravritta Ritepi Tvam Na Bhavishyanti Sarve Yevastita Pratyanikecha Yoda Tasnat Tvamuttishta Yasho Labhasva Jitva Satyam Bhukshva Rajyam Samriddham Mayai Vaite Nihata Purvameva Nimitta Matram Bhava Savyasachin Dronam Cha Vishwam Cha Jayatratam Cha Karnam Tathaiyan Apiyoda Viran Ahatam Stam Jahima Vyatishta Yutyasvacheta Sirane Sapatnan Sanjaya Vacha Etat Shruva Vachanam Keshavasya Kritanjalirbhepamanan Kivirti Namaskritva Bhuya Eva Krishnam Sagadagadam Vita Vita Pranay Namya Arjuna Vacha Stane Stane Rishikesha Tava Prakyirtya Jagat Prarishyati Anu Rajyate Cha Rakshamshi Bhitani Disho Dravanti Sarve Namasyanti Cha Siddha Sangha Kashmachatena Namarin Mahatman Karishye Brahmano Pi Adikarte Ananta Devi Shajagannivasam Tvamaksharam Sadasatatvaram Yat Tvam Adideva Purusha Puranas Tvamastya Vishwasya Param Nidaram Vedasya Vedyam Nacha Param Chadama Tvaya Tata Vishwamananta Rupa Vayuryamognir Varuna Shashanka Prajaptistam Prapitamahascha Namo Namaste Sahasrakritva Punascha Bhuyopi Namo Namaste Nama Purasta Lata Prista Tataste Namostute Sarv Namostute Sarvata Eva Sarva Ananta Viryatma Vikramastam Sarvam Samapnoshi Tatoshi Sarva Sakheti Matva Prasabam Yaduktam He Krishna He Yadava He Sakheti Agnyata Mahimanta Vedam Maya Pramada Pranayena Vapi Yachavahas Sartam Ashatkritosi Vihara Sayasana Bhojaneshu Eko Tavapi Achyuta Tat Samaksham Tat Samyetam Aham Aprameyam
पितासि लोकस्य चराचरस्य त्वमस्य पूज्यश्च गुरुर्गरीयान् न त्वत्समोऽस्त्यभ्यतिकः कुतोऽन्यो लोकत्रयेऽपि त्रयेऽप्यप्रतिमप्रभाव तस्मात् प्रणम्य प्रणिधाय कायं प्रसादये त्वम् अहम् ईशमित्यं पितेव पुत्रस्य सखेव सख्युः प्रियप्रियायार्हसि देव सोढुम् अदृष्टपूर्वं हृषितोऽस्मि दृष्ट्वा भयेन च प्रव्यथितं मनो मे तदेव मे दर्शय देवरूपं प्रसीद देवेश जगन्निवास किरीटिनं गदिनं चक्रहस्तम् इच्छामि त्वां द्रष्टुमहं तथैव तेनैव रूपेण चतुर्भुजेन सहस्रबाहो भव विश्वमूर्ते श्रीभगवानुवाच मया प्रसन्नेन तवार्जुनेदं रूपं परं दर्शितमात्मयोगा तेजोमयं विश्वमनन्तमाद्यं यन्मे त्वदन्येन न दृष्टपूर्वम् न वेदयज्ञाध्ययनेन दानेर्न च क्रियाभिर्न तपोभिरुग्रैः एवं रूप शक्य अहं नृलोके द्रष्टुं त्वदन्येन कुरु प्रवीर मा ते व्यथा मा च विमूढभावो दृष्ट्वा रूपं घोरम् इदृन्ममेदं व्यपेतभिप्रीतमानः पुनस्त्वं तदेव मे रूपमिदं प्रपश्य सञ्जय उवाच इत्यर्जुनं वासुदेवस्तथोक्त्वा स्वकं रूपं दर्शयम् आस भूय आश्वासयाम् आश च भीतमेनं भूत्वा पुनः सौम्य वपुर्महात्मा अर्जुन उवाच दृष्ट्वेदं मानुषं रूपं तव सौम्यं जनार्दन इदानीम् अस्मि संवृत्तः सचेतः प्रकृतिं गतः श्रीभगवानुवाच सुदुर्दर्शमिदं रूपं दृष्टवानसि यन्मम देव अप्यस्य रूपस्य नित्यं दर्शनकाङ्क्षिणः
नाहं वेदेन तपसा न दानेन न चेज्जया शाक्य एवं विधो दृष्टवानसि मां यथा भक्त्या त्वनन्यया शक्य अहं एवं विधोऽर्जुन ज्ञातुं द्रष्टुं च तत्त्वेन प्रवेष्टुं च परन्तप मत्कर्म कृन्मत्परमो मद्भक्तः सङ्गवर्जितः निर्वैः सर्वभूतेषु यस्य स माम् एत पाण्डव ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे विश्वरूपदर्शनयोगो नाम एकादशोऽध्यायः हरे कृष्ण
Hari Om. Let's do the English.
And have devotees read 4 translations each. Coven, you can get us started.
O mighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form, with its many faces, eyes, thighs, legs, teeth, and belly, and your many terrible teeth, and as they are disturbed, so am I. O all-pervading Vishnu, seeing you with your many radiant colors touching the sky, your gaping mouths, and your great glowing eyes, my mind is perturbed by fear. I can no longer maintain my steadiness or equilibrium of mind. Oh Lord of wait, my background is okay. Okay. O Lord of Lords, O refuge of all the worlds, please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance seeing thus your blazing death-like faces and awful teeth. In all directions I am bewildered. All the sons of Dhritarashtra, along with their allied kings, and Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and our chief soldiers also, are rushing into your fearful mouths, and some I see trapped with heads smashed between your teeth. As the many waves of rivers flow into the ocean, so do all these great warriors enter blazing into your mouths. I see all people rushing full
Beloved,
speed into your.
I think we'll move on to the next reader.
Uh,
Thank you so much for reading.
I see all people rushing full speed into your mouths, as moths dash to destruction in a blazing fire. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouths. Covering all the universe with your effulgence, you are manifest with terrible scorching rays. O Lord of Lords, so fierce of form, please tell me who you are. I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be gracious to me. You are the primal Lord. I want to know about you, for I do not know what your mission is. The Supreme Personality of God had said, Tom I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers on both sides will be slain.
Therefore, get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangements, and you, O Savyashi, can be but an instrument in the fight. Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, and the other great warriors have already been destroyed by me. Therefore, kill them and do not be disturbed. Simply fight, and you will vanquish your enemies in battle. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the trembling Arjuna offered obeisances with folded hands again and again. He fearfully spoke to Lord Krishna in a faltering voice as follows. Arjuna said, O master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done. Hare Krishna.
O Great One, greater even than Brahma, you are the original creator. Why then should they not offer their respectful obeisances unto you, O Limitless One, God of gods, refuge of all of the universe? You are invincible. You are the invincible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to this material manifestation. You are the original personality of Godhead, the oldest, the ultimate sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You are the knower of everything. You are all that is knowable. You are the supreme refuge above the material modes. O limitless form, this whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you. You are air, you are the supreme controller. You are fire, you are water, and you are the moon. You are Brahma, the first living creature, and you are the great grandfather. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you 1,000 times, again and again, and yet again. Obeisances to you from the front, from behind, and from all sides. O unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all pervading, and thus you are everything.
Thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, not knowing your glories. Please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relax, lay on the same bed, or sat or ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. O infallible one, please excuse me for all these offenses. You are the father of this complete cosmic manifestation of the moving and the non-moving. You are its worshipable chief, the supreme spiritual master. No one is greater than you, nor can anyone be with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within the three worlds, O Lord of immeasurable power? You are the supreme Lord to be worshipped by every living being. Thus I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisances and ask your mercy. As a father tolerates the impudence of his son, a friend the impertinence of a friend, or a husband the familiarity of his wife, please tolerate the wrongs I may have done to you. After seeing this universal form, which I have never seen before, I am gladdened, but at the same time my mind is disturbed with fear. Therefore, please bestow your grace upon me, and reveal again your form as the personality of Godhead, O Lord of Lords, O abode of the universe.
O universal form, O thousand-armed Lord, I wish to see you in your four-armed form with helmeted head and with club, wheel, conch, and lotus flower in your hands. I long to see you in that form. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, happily have I shown you by my internal potency the Supreme Universal Form within this material world. No one before you has ever seen this primal form, unlimited and full of glaring effulgence. O best of the Kuru warriors, no one before you has ever seen this universal form of mine, for neither by studying the Vedas, nor by performing sacrifices, nor by charity, nor by pious activities, nor by severe penances, can I be seen in this form in the material world. You have been perturbed and bewildered by seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now let it be finished. My devotee, be free again from all disturbances. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, having spoken thus to Arjuna, displayed his real four-armed form, and at last showed his two-armed form, thus encouraging the fearful Arjuna.
When Arjuna thus saw Krishna in his original form, he said, O Janardana, seeing this human-like form, so very beautiful, I am now composed in my mind, and I restored to my original nature. The Supreme Personality of God had said, My dear Arjuna, this form of mine you are now seeing is very difficult to behold. Even the demigods are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form, which is so dear. The form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. My dear Arjuna, he who engages in my pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of fruitive activities and mental speculations, he who works for me, who makes me the supreme goal of his life, and who is friendly to every living being, he certainly comes to me.
Let's read one verse and purport. How about text 54? I volunteer to start. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. Purport: Krishna can be understood only by the process of undivided devotional service. He explicitly explains this in this verse so that unauthorized commentators who try to understand Bhagavad Gita by this speculative process will know that they are simply wasting their time. No one can understand Krishna or how he came from parents in a four-handed form and at once changed himself into a two-handed form. These things are very difficult to understand by study of the Vedas or by philosophical speculation. Therefore, it is clearly stated here that no one can see him or enter into understanding of these matters. Those who, however, are very experienced students of Vedic literature can learn about him from the Vedic literature in so many ways. There are so many rules and regulations, and if one at all wants to understand Krishna, he must follow the regular principles described in the authoritative literature. One can perform penance in accordance with those principles. For example, to undergo serious penances, one may observe fasting on Janmashtami, the day on which Krishna appeared, and on the 2 days of Ekadashi, the 11th day after the new moon, and the 11th day after the full moon. As far as charity is concerned, it is plain that charity should be given to the devotees of Krishna who are engaged in his devotional service to spread the Krishna philosophy or Krishna consciousness throughout the world. Krishna consciousness is a benediction to humanity. Lord Chaitanya was appreciated by Rupa Goswami as the most magnificent man of charity because love of Krishna, which is very difficult to achieve, was distributed freely by him. So if one gives some amount of his money to persons involved in distributing Krishna consciousness, that charity given in to spread Krishna consciousness is the greatest charity in the world. And if one worships as prescribed in the temples in India, there is always some statue, usually of Vishnu or Krishna. That is a chance to progress by offering worship and respect to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For the beginners in devotional service to the Lord, temple worship is essential, and this is confirmed in the Vedic literature Shweta Ashvatara Upanishad. Yasya Devi Pura Bhaktir Yata Devi Tata Garau Tasyaite Katita Hyarta Prakashanti Mahatmanaha. When it was unflinching devotion for the Supreme Lord and is directed by the spiritual master, in whom he has similar unflinching faith, can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead by revelation. One cannot understand Krishna by mental speculation. For one who does not take personal training under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, it is impossible to even begin to understand Krishna. The word tu is specifically used here to indicate that no other process can be used, can be recommended, or can be successful in understanding Krishna.
The personal forms of Krishna, the two-handed form and the four-handed, are described as Sudur-darshan, very difficult to see. They are completely different from the temporary universal form shown to Arjuna. The four-handed form of Narayan and the two-handed form of Krishna are eternal and transcendental, whereas the universal form exhibited to Arjuna is temporary. The words Tvad anyena nadrishta purvam, verse 47, state that before Arjuna, no one had seen that universal form. Also, they suggest that amongst the devotees there was no necessity of showing it. That form was exhibited by Krishna at the request of Arjuna, so that in the future, when one represents himself as an incarnation of God, people can ask to see his universal form.
The word na, used repeatedly in the previous verse, indicates that one should not be very much proud of such credentials as an academic education in Vedic literature. One must take to the devotional service of Krishna. Only then can one attempt to write commentaries on Bhagavad Gita.
Krishna changes from the universal form to the four-handed form of Narayan, and then to his own natural form of two hands. This indicates that the four-handed forms and other forms mentioned in Vedic literature are all emanations of the original two-handed Krishna. He is the origin of all emanations. Krishna is distinct even from those forms, what to speak of the impersonal conception. As far as the four-handed forms of Krishna are concerned, it is stated clearly that even the most identical four-handed form of Krishna, which is known as Mahavishnu, who is lying on the cosmic ocean and from whose breathing so many innumerable universes are passing out and entering, is also an expansion of the Supreme Lord. As stated in Brahma Samhita 5.48, Yasyeka Nishvasata Kala Matava Lamya Jivanti Loma Vilaja Jagadandanata Vishnur Mahansa Iha Yasya Kala Vishesho Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. The Mahavishnu, into whom all the innumerable universes enter and from whom they come forth again simply by his breathing process, is a plenary expansion of Krishna. Therefore, I worship Govinda, the cause of all causes, who is Krishna. Therefore, one should conclusively worship the personal form of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is eternal bliss and knowledge. He is the source of all forms of Vishnu. He is the source of all forms of incarnation, and he is the original Supreme Personality as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita.
In the Vedic literature, Gopal Tapani Upanishad, the following statement appears: Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Klishtakarine Namo Vedanta Vedyaya Gurave Buddhi Sakshine. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Krishna, who is a transcendental form of bliss, eternity, and knowledge. I offer my respect to him, because understanding him means understanding the Vedas, and he is therefore the supreme spiritual master. It is said, Krishna ve paramam daivatam. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Gopal Tapani Upanishad 1.3. Eko Vashi Sarvagaha Krishna Idyaha. That one, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is worshipable. Eko pi san bahudha yo vabhati. Krishna is one, but he is manifested in unlimited forms and expanded incarnations. Gopal Tapani Upanishad 1.21.
The Brahma Samhita 5.1 says, Ishwara Paramav Krishnaha Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govindaha Sarva Karana Karanam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna, who has a body of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. He has no beginning, for he is the beginning of everything. He is the cause of all causes. Elsewhere it is said, Yatra Vatirnam Krishna Kyam Param Brahma Narakriti. The Supreme Absolute Truth is a person. His name is Krishna, and he sometimes descends on this earth. Similarly, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we find a description of all kinds of incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in this list, the name of Krishna also appears. But then it is said that this Krishna is not an incarnation of God, but is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ete Shamsa Kala Pumsaha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam.
Similarly, in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Mata Parataram Nanya. There is nothing superior to my form as a personality of God and Krishna. He also says elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita, Aham Aditi Devana. I'm the origin of all the demigods. And after understanding Bhagavad Gita from Krishna, Arjuna also confirms this in the following words: Param Brahma, Param Dharma, Pavitram Paramam Bhava. I now fully understand that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute truth, and that you are the refuge of everything. Therefore, the universal form which Krishna showed to Arjuna is not the original form of God. The original is the Krishna form. The universal form with its thousands and thousands of heads and hands is manifest just to draw the attention of those who have no love for God. It is not God's original.
The universal form is not attractive for pure devotees who are in love with the Lord in different transcendental relationships. The Supreme Godhead exchanges transcendental love in its original form of Krishna. Therefore, to Arjuna, who was so intimately related with Krishna in friendship, This form of the universal manifestation was not pleasing. Rather, it was fearful. Arjuna, who was a constant companion of Krishna's, must have had transcendental eyes. He was not an ordinary man. Therefore, he was not captivated by the universal form. This form may seem wonderful to persons who are involved in elevating themselves by fruitive activities, but to persons who are engaged in devotional service, the two-handed form of Krishna is the most dear.
Rajas Bhavana Prabhu?
I was appreciating how this purport was like an essay on on Krishna and who he is. And I found the first part of it quite interesting, where uh, Prabhupada was talking about the process of devotional service and how it is very simple in that sense, where there are penances one can take in devotional service, there's worship one can do, there's charity, everything is included in it, but it all happens for Krishna, and that's what it means by undivided devotional service. And then he goes on to discuss who Krishna is and how we can understand the different forms of Krishna. But I was appreciating that first part, this preamble of what devotional service is to begin with.
Thank you, Rajas Bhavana Prabhu. Bhavan.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So, whenever when we were reading the purport, I was just thinking about how Prabhupada went really step by step in explaining how we can understand all of the incarnations. So first he started with, why was Arjuna saying that, he did not like the universal form, and then he described that, it's not actually about, in the end he describes, it's not actually the incarnation, that the form that the devotees like, and because the two-handed form of Krishna can give the most pleasure. And then he also quotes a lot of verses too that are backed up with Shastra to show that his points are coming directly from Shastra, and he's talking about how all the incarnations are originally emanating from Krishna, and they're not commensurate to Krishna's two-handed form. They're in a different league, which is slightly lower. So, and then he also gives us a call to action, which says that we should directly do devotional service towards Krishna, who's the two-handed form, and uses a Brahma Samhita verse to back that up as well. So yeah, I was really appreciating how Prabhupada used verses and went really step by step for us all to understand.
Thank you, Vivan. Now from the same house, part. Same house, different rooms.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Maharaj. So, when we were reading this verse 54th, 11th canto, one point that I really stuck out to me was that you cannot access Krishna just through a high academic study of the Vedas, or severe austerities, or charity, but we have to use the path of bhakti. This is the most direct and accessible path for everybody. And while the Vedas and austerities do have merit, they not guarantee the realization of Krishna instead. Just wanted to share that one point.
You two have become quite the orators. Your brother used the word commensurate. I like that. It's nice. And you're both well spoken. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And have you been met? Oh, look, it's Tarani Radha. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. I was just thinking how many times we see in the Gita, like Krishna repeats things only when they're extremely important. And so here, like Prabhupada is doing a similar thing, how he's emphasizing how important it is to realize that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he should be our goal. He should be the goal of our life and not anyone else, not any universal form, because the universal form is unappealing to his devotees. And so and he in Prabhupada like uses evidence from multiple different Upanishads and sources. It's kind of like how I have to write evidence in my essays, except instead of it for English, Prabhupada here is doing it for Krishna. And so he uses evidence from Brahma Samhita, Gopal Tapani Upanishad, and another Upanishad, and each one of them says that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and he is the ultimate goal, and he's the cause of all causes. And so I really hope I can at some point in my life truly like realize that and have it like sink in where I can, and in a way that it helps my devotion and bhakti.
Wow. Nicely put, Tari Radha, and a lot of from the heart personal stuff at the end. Nicely done. Arav.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. I was just seeing in the synonyms, it says, Srila Prabhupada wrote Bhaktiya tu Adanyaya, which is by devotional service without being mixed. And then in the synonyms, it says with fruit of activities or speculative knowledge. So in the synonyms, he directly points out you shouldn't mix the devotional service with fruitive activities and speculation, which is showing that here Krishna is trying to tell us just do devotion. It's the easiest and most direct path, as Vivan was saying before. And he's saying he can be seen directly through this way. And then after that, you can enter into the mysteries of understanding him. It doesn't say that you'll understand him immediately. You can enter once you start doing undivided devotional service, is what I was thinking.
Quote a verse, another verse that says that one should be free from karma and jnana. Quote two verses.
I know one that's a little bit indirect. Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ataiva Shanta Bhakti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakaliya Shanta, which is saying a Krishna devotee is calm because he's Shanta, and the ones who desire liberation, who desire opulence and mukti, they are usually Ashanta because their focus is not on serving Krishna, rather it's to serve themselves.
Well, it may be indirect, but it's very interesting. And definitely not too indirect. Nice. Let's hear something direct about jnana and karma, how one should be free from jnana and karma. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma nyanavritam anakuliyana krishna anushilanam bhakti. This is the definition given by Rupa Goswami, that it should be free from jnana and karma. How about another one to wait to Chandra Prabhu? Because you're smiling and you have another one up your sleeve. Go ahead.
You stole mine, Maharaj.
Aha, he took yours. Well, I was thinking of Jnane Priyasam Mudapasyanamanta Eva Jivanti San Mukaditam Bhavadiyavartam. Stane Stita Shrutigatam Tanavan Manobirye Prayaso Jita Jito Pyasitais Trilokyam. At least there he's saying throw out any kind of speculative process to understand Krishna. Rajras, what do you got there?
I'm just finding the translations for everything everyone's saying.
That's amazing. You're like the living AI. Because a devotee of Lord Krishna is desireless, he is peaceful. I love that verse. I'm glad you brought it up. Fruit of workers desire material enjoyment. Jnanis desire liberation. And yogis, what happened? And yogis desire material opulence. Therefore, they are all lusty and cannot be peaceful. When first-class devotional service develops, one must be devoid of all material desires. Knowledge obtained by monistic philosophy and fruit of action, the devotee must constantly serve Krishna favorably as Krishna desires. Those who Even while remaining situated in their established social positions, throw away the process of speculative knowledge. And with their body, words, and mind, offer all respects to descriptions of your personality and activities, dedicating their lives to these narrations, which are vibrated by you personally and by your pure devotees, certainly conquer your lordship, although you are otherwise unconquerable by anyone within the three worlds. So, Arya, what does it mean that the devotees conquer Krishna? How do they conquer Krishna? Can you expound on that?
They put their, they offer everything to him. They surrender to him.
Nice, Arya. Sweta Manjari, give more specifics about that topic from the Bhagavatam. How Krishna is conquered. What's the examples?
Hare Krishna Gurudev. This is my obeisances. Where Krishna is conquered, Krishna becomes a charioteer for Arjuna. It's considered a lowly position, yet he assumes it with great honor. Krishna made a vow not to pick up weapons in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, yet he picked up a wheel just to give Bhishma Dev happiness. Krishna is conquered by the love of the gopis and says he has nothing more to give them, even though he's a supreme lord. Krishna is conquered by Mother Yashoda in Damodar Lila. Krishna is conquered by Prahlad Maharaj in the form of Nrsimhadev. Krishna is conquered by Ambarish Maharaj. Yeah, I think that's a few.
That's more than a few. Brava. Right on the tip of your brain. That's what happens when you hear and chant all the time and listen carefully to lectures. You have everything right there ready to go. That's ideal to have that. All of you have that. It's very nice. Well done, Shweta Manjari. Okay. Advaita Chandra. So good to
Hare
see
Krishna.
you. Hare Krishna.
So nice to see you too, Maharaj. Dandavat pranams. Since you had mentioned my name, and I thought that I need to find something, and I remembered that there is something, and I checked to make sure. It was from Geetavali of Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Radhika Charana Padma. At the end, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Chodata Karama Gyan. Right, when she's saying, Chodata Dhana Jan Kalatra Sutta Meet, Chodata Karama Gyan, that I am leaving my Dhan, Jan, Kalatra Sutta Meet, family, relatives, etc., and I'm leaving Karma and Gyan. I'm leaving them aside, and I'm fully coming under your shelter.
Wow. Look, he found it already. The living AI. Chodata Dhanachand Kalatra Sutamita Chodata Karma Gyan Radha Pada Pankaja Madhurata Sevan Bhakati Vinod Paranan. Can you sing it? Let's hear the tune.
And this is just the way that I sing it. I'm not sure if there's a better way, but Chodata Dhana Jan Kalatra Sutamita Chodata Karama Gyana Chodata Karama Gyan Radha Pada Pankaja Madhurata Sevana Bhakati Vinoda Paraman Bhakati Vinoda Paraman.
That was fantastic. Can you read the translation for that one you just sang?
Abandoning wealth, followers, wife, sons, and friends, and giving up materialistic activities and intellectual knowledge, being absorbed in the sweetness of service to the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. This is Bhakti Vinod's conviction.
Fantastic. Keshav, tell us what you put up there and why.
So Maharaj, I was just like looking at database and I was just looking for some verses where Krishna just like conquered, and then I found this verse, but like the really part I like was that Krishna is like causelessly merciful because devotees don't desire any material profit, they only want Krishna, and then Krishna just like he gives himself to them.
Very nice. Nicely done. Amazing. Rajaras Bhavana, have you been continuing your reading of the Lilamrita?
Yes, Maharaj.
Is anybody up for hearing some more Lilamrita? Okay. Let's do it. Nobody can stop us. We can do whatever we want. Om Jnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Started with
Excuse me, I think my camera's not working.
Starting with Howard, Keith, and Wally. Is that where it is? Okay, I'll start with the big jumbo paragraph at the top. Because of Prabhupada's presence and the words that he spoke there and the kirtans, everyone was already referring to the storefront as, quote unquote, the temple. But still, it was just a bare, squalid storefront. The inspiration to decorate the place came from the Mott Street boys. I just did one. Everyone else can take their turn. How many do you usually do? 1, 2, 3?
We usually do around 2.
2, okay.
Howard, Keith, and Wally devised a scheme to surprise the Swami when he came to the evening kirtan. Wally removed the curtains from their apartment, took them to the laundromat, where they turned the water dark brown from filth, and then dyed them purple. The Mott Street apartment was decorated with posters, paintings, and large decorative silk hangings that Howard and Keith had brought back from India. The boys gathered up all their pictures, tapestries, incense burners, and other paraphernalia and took them, along with the purple curtains, to the storefront, where they began their day of decorating. At the storefront, the boys constructed a wooden platform for Prabhupada to sit on and covered it with old velvet cloth. Behind the platform, on the rear wall between the two windows to the courtyard, they hung the purple curtains, flanked by a pair of orange ones. Against one orange panel, just above Swamiji's sitting place, they hung a large original painting of Radha and Krishna on a circular canvas that James Green had done. Prabhupada had commissioned James, giving him the dust jacket from his Srimad Bhagavatam with its crude Indian drawing as a model. The figures of Radha and Krishna were somewhat abstract. The Lower East Side critics who frequented the storefront hailed the work as a wonderful achievement.
Keith and Howard were less confident that Prabhupada would approve of their paintings and print from India, so they hung them near the street side of the temple, away from Swamiji's seat. One of the prints well known in India was a Hanuman carrying a mountain through the sky to Lord Ramchandra. The boys had no idea what kind of being Hanuman was. They thought perhaps he was a cat because of the shape of his upper lip. Then there was the picture of a male person with 6 arms, 2 arms painted greenish, held a bow and arrow. Another pair, bluish, held a flute, and the third pair, golden, held a stick and bow. By late afternoon, they had covered the sitting platform, hung the curtains, tacked up the decorative silks, and prints and hung the paintings, and were decorated the dice, flowers, and candlesticks. Someone brought a pillow for Swamiji to sit on, and a faded cushion from an overstuffed chair for a backrest.
In addition to the Mott Street cachet, Robert Nelson took one of his grandfather's Belgian-style Oriental rugs from his garage in the suburbs and brought it by subway to 26 Second Avenue. Even Raphael and Dawn took part in the decorating. The secret was well kept, and the boys waited to see Swamiji's response. That night, when he walked in to begin the kirtan, he looked at the newly decorated temple. There was even incense burning, and he raised his eyebrows in satisfaction. You are advancing, he said as he looked around the room, smiling broadly. Yes, he added, this is Krishna consciousness. His sudden happy mood seemed like the reward for their earnest labors. He then stepped up onto the platform while the boys held their breaths, hoping it would be steady, and he sat, looking out at the devotees and the decorations.
They had pleased him, but now he assumed a feature of extreme gravity, and though they knew he was certainly the same Swamiji, their tittering stuck in their throats, and their happy glances to each other suddenly abated in uncertainty and nervousness. As they regarded Swamiji's gravity, their joy of a few moments before seemed suddenly childish, as a cloud quickly covered the sun like a dark shade. Prabhupada changed his mood from jolly to grave, and they spontaneously resolved to become equally grave and sober. He picked up the Garatalas and again smiled a ray of appreciation, and their hearts beamed back. The temple was still a tiny storefront with many hidden and unhidden cockroaches, a tilted floor, and poor lighting, but because many of the decorations were from India, it had an authentic atmosphere, especially with Swamiji present on the 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 dice. Now guests who entered were suddenly in a little Indian temple.
I came one evening, and all of a sudden there were carpets on the floor, pictures on the wall, and paintings. Just all of a sudden it had blossomed and was full of people. I was amazed how, in just a matter of days, people had brought so many wonderful things. When I came that evening and saw how it had been decorated, then I wasn't so much worried that he was going to make it. I thought it was really beginning to take hold now. Prabhupada looked at his group of followers. He was moved by their offering him a seat of honor and their attempts at decorating Krishna's storefront. To see a devotee make an offering to Krishna was not new for him. But this was new. In New York, this horrible place, the seed of bhakti was growing. And naturally, as the gardener of that tender sprout, he was touched by Krishna's mercy. Glancing at the pictures on the wall, he said, tomorrow I will come, look at the pictures, and tell you which are good.
The next day, Prabhupada came down to apprise some new artwork on display. One framed watercolor painting was of a man playing a drum while a girl danced. This one is all right, he said, but another painting of a woman was more mundane, and he said, no, this painting is not so good. He walked to the back of the temple, followed anxiously by Howard, Keith, and Wally. When he came upon the painting of the six-armed person, he said, oh, this is very nice. Who is it? Wally asked. This is Lord Chaitanya, Prabhupada replied. Why does he have 6 arms? Because he showed himself to be both Rama and Krishna. These are the arms of Rama and these are the arms of Krishna. What are the other 2 arms? Keith asked. Those are the arms of sannyasi. He went to the next picture. This is also very nice. Who is it? Howard asked. This is Hanuman. Is he a cat? No, Prabhupada replied. He's a monkey.
Hanuman is glorified in the scripture Ramayana as the valiant, faithful servant of Lord Ramachandra. Millions of Indians worship the incarnation of Lord Ram and his servitor Hanuman, whose exploits are plenarily exhibited in theater, cinema, art, and temple worship. In not knowing who Hanuman was, the Mott Street boys were no less ignorant than the old ladies uptown who, when Prabhupada had asked whether any of them had seen a picture of Krishna, had all stared blankly. The Lower East Side mystics didn't know Hanuman from a cat, and they had brought back from their hashish version of India a picture of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without even knowing who he was. Yet there was an important difference between these boys and the ladies uptown. The boys were serving Swamiji and chanting Hare Krishna. They were through with material life and the middle class work reward syndrome. Their hearts had awakened to Swamiji's promise of expanded Krishna consciousness, and they sensed in his personal company something exhilarated. Like the Bowery bum who had donated toilet paper during Prabhupada's lecture, the Lower East Side boys did not have their minds quite in order, and yet, as Prabhupada saw it, Krishna was guiding them from within their hearts. Prabhupada knew they would change for the better by chanting and hearing about Krishna.
The summer of 1966 moved into August, and Prabhupada kept good health. For him, these were happy days. New Yorkers complained of the summer heat waves, but this caused no inconvenience to one accustomed to the 100-degree plus temperatures of Vrindavan's blazing summers. "It is like India," he said, as he went without a shirt, seeming relaxed and at home. He had thought that in America he would have to subsist on boiled potatoes. Otherwise, there would be nothing but meat. But here he was happily eating the same rice, dal, and chapatis, and cooking on the same three-stacked cooker as in India. Work on the Srimad Bhagavatam had also gone on regularly since he had moved into the Second Avenue apartment. And now Krishna was bringing these sincere young men who were cooking, typing, hearing him regularly, chanting Hare Krishna, and asking for more. Prabhupada was still a solitary preacher, free to stay or go, writing his books in his own intimate relationship with Krishna, quite independent of the boys in the storefront. But now he had taken the International Society for Krishna Consciousness as a spiritual child. The inquiring young men, some of whom had already been chanting steadily for over a month, were like stumbling spiritual infants, and he felt responsible for guiding them. They were beginning to consider him their spiritual master, trusting him to lead them into spiritual life. Although they were unable to immediately follow the multifarious rules that Brahmanas and Vaishnavas in India followed, he was hopeful. According to Rupa Goswami, the most important principle was that one should somehow or other become Krishna conscious. People should chant Hare Krishna and render devotional service. They should engage whatever they had in the service of Krishna. And Prabhupada was exercising this basic principle of Krishna consciousness to the furthest limit the history of Vaishnavism had ever seen. Although he was engaging the boys in cooking and typing, Prabhupada was not doing any less himself. Rather, for every sincere soul who came forward to ask for service, 100 came who wanted not to serve but to challenge. Speaking to them, sometimes shouting and pounding his fists, Prabhupada defended Krishna against the Mayavad philosophy. This was also his service to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He had not come to America to retire. So, with the passing of each new day, came yet another confirmation that his work and his followers and his challengers would only increase. How much could he could do was up to Krishna. "I am an old man," he said. I may go away at any moment. But if he were to go away now, certainly Krishna consciousness would also go away, because the Krishna Consciousness Society was nothing but him.
his figure leading the chanting while his head moved back and forth in small motions of ecstasy, his figure walking in and out of the temple through the courtyard or into the apartment. His person sitting down smiling to discuss philosophy by the hour. He was the sole bearer and maintainer of the small, fragile, controlled atmosphere of Krishna consciousness on New York's Lower East.
It was a makeshift storefront turned temple and a two-room apartment, transformed into the Guru's residence and study, but it was complete nonetheless. It was a complete monastery and the city slums. The temple, the storefront, was quickly becoming known among the hip underground of the Lower East Side. The courtyard was a strangely peaceful place for aspiring monks, with its little garden, bird sanctuary, and trees, squeezed in between the front and rear buildings. The Swami's back room was the inner sanctum of the monastery. Each room had a flair all its own, or rather, it took on its particular character from the Swami's activities there. The temple room was his kirtana and lecture hall. The lecture was always serious and formal. Even from the beginning, when there was no dais and he had to sit on a straw mat facing a few guests, it was clear he was here to instruct, not to invite casual give and take dialogue. Questions had to wait until he finished speaking. The audience would sit on the floor and listen for 45 minutes as he delivered the Vedic knowledge intact, always speaking on the basis of Vedic authority, quoting Sanskrit, quoting the previous spiritual masters, delivering perfect knowledge supported with reason and argument. While contending with the noises of the street, he lectured with exacting scholarship and deeply committed devotion. It appeared that he had long ago mastered all the references and conclusions of his predecessors and had even come to anticipate all intellectual challenges.
What a great reading. Were any of you there at that time? Huh? How do you know, Arya? Maybe you were.
Maybe.
Maybe. Well, I find that very sweet. What part that really touched me with it when in the reading was when the Mott Street Boys had spontaneously decorated the temple room when Prabhupada came and then started his program and he looked up and saw the new decorations. He said, "You're becoming advanced." It's just so nice. You know, any little thing Krishna or his pure representative appreciates when he sees a devotee do something even small. As it's really the atmosphere Prabhupada created of encouragement that every little thing is he noticed and appreciated. Of course, he'd also, if he saw things that needed correcting, he'd give corrections and was attentive to that side also. You know, when I heard the description of the overstuffed chair, I was just thinking how Prabhupada made do with whatever resource, whatever facilities were there, even if they were very simple, worn out. We had read in an earlier section before I left for India about that room he had that was very narrow and awkward for devotees to sit in. Nonetheless, the devotees came in and sat there anyway because they just wanted to hear. And I was thinking that the formula always works. If you hear and chant together, then Krishna manifests and there's success and happiness in life. And even if you start from a meager beginning, it'll expand and become opulent by Krishna's mercy. Opulent really means that not necessarily the things look shiny and new, but everything's well placed, everything that you need is in place to serve Krishna. Did any of you have any reflection from the reading? Yes, Tarni Radha.
Hare Krishna. You actually stole my words, Maharaj, because I was gonna say that that part where my Grant and Wally, I think they it was like it touched me too. It was very sweet. I like when they were sincerely helping Prabhupada and decorating the area of the place and cooking for him and all of that. And what I found very, very touching and sweet, like my favorite part was when they would smile when Prabhupada would smile, and they became grave when Prabhupada became grave. And it like kind of I think about how when a parent is raising a child, the child mimics the parents' movements and reactions. So it's like how they're trying to learn from Prabhupada and how to like how to behave and how to be in certain situations. So they're like I just found that very sweet, and I think it's mostly I like this moment so much because today there's so many insincere and fake people that seeing someone so sincerely committed to Prabhupada and not trying to get something out of him and like truly interested and devoted to him, that just like warms my heart so much. And I just hope sometime one day I can preach and make devotees like that and bring devotees like that into the movement. And hopefully I can become that type of devotee or meet devotees like that. Hare Krishna.
Nice, Tarni Radha. My godbrother Satyadev Prabhu really likes to read Prabhupada's letters. And have you ever seen the letters books? I don't think they published more than a few hundred or thousand, but I just happened to get them all. I'll show you. One, two, three, four, 5 volumes. I got these in Tokyo, of all places. It's like they were sitting there every year I'd go to Tokyo, I'd see them on the shelf. I say, hey, somebody, those belong to somebody? And somebody said, you can have them. But it go, can you believe that? And it goes through every letter Prabhupada ever wrote. So anyway, my godbrother Satyadev really liked reading the letters because, yeah, he joined the movement in 1970. He had some association with Prabhupada, not a whole lot, but some, more than most people. In any case, he felt after Prabhupada had left and time moved on, he wanted to feel a little more personal relationship with him. And so he started reading his letter books and he found great satisfaction in it. I just remember one letter. He'd come over to my house every week because we had programs here. And he read me one letter Prabhupada had written. This is kind of aimed to you, Tarni Radha, what you just said, that you were saying, someday I hope to be this or that. And an Indian gentleman had written Prabhupada and told him that he was hoping that someday he would become sincere and that he would like to become a pure devotee. And Prabhupada wrote back and he said, the desire to be sincere and the desire to become a pure devotee, that is sincerity. And he said, that is pure devotion. He said, there's no difference. So, yeah, it's very sweet to have that sense of, instilled in us by hearing about Prabhupada to want to follow in his footsteps. Arya, go ahead.
Why did the devotees think that Hanuman was a cat?
Because he said his lips looked like cat-like, and they had no experience whatsoever. You know, you grew up in an environment where you know all these things, you've heard all these things since you were, small. And they had no idea about any of these pictures. So I don't know, somebody put up a picture of Hanuman. Do you have one readily handy? We'll check and see if we could have missed it somehow. Just pretend I'm going to hypnotize you. You don't know anything. You've never seen any pictures of Hanuman or anything from India. And now look at this and see if you can get a cat. It's possible, right? See his mouth?
Yeah,
Possible. It's got a tail. Cats have tails. So I guess that's it, huh?
but it didn't have the ears.
That's true, but yeah, you're right. But at least you see how it could be possible now, right?
Yeah.
Minus the ears. Raja Bhavana?
I was reflecting on the point where you said hearing and chanting is enough, and that was displayed in this section that we're reading. I was thinking about what Janavi Jivano Mataji once said, where she was suggesting that when she was in Kirtan program, she liked saying nothing about it. It would just make a comfortable atmosphere and then just chant the Mahamantra. And it would be the most powerful way to present it because you start telling them how to feel or what to expect and things like that. Sometimes they can kind of zone out. But if you let the Mahamantra do all the talking, and then they really get absorbed.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm just trying to remember. We were somewhere in somebody. Oh yeah, I was thinking of when we were at Salesforce and we did the Janmashtami program. It was it was visceral because we're dealing with an audience. There was only one person in there who had ever heard a kirtan before, and the rest of the people didn't. And I sometimes in those environments where the chanting is very simple and it's to brand new people who are hearing it first time, I hearken back to the descriptions of 22nd Avenue when people are just walking. There's something so innocent about it, and just it's people experiencing it, and you can see in that environment where nobody's been prepped or anything like that, that the holy name has its own effect. It's quite amazing. Shweta Manjari.
Hare Krishna Gurudev. I was thinking about how in bhakti there's often a list of do's and don'ts and a feeling of we have to live up to something. But I was appreciating in this past time that these devotees who didn't even know Mahaprabhu or Hanuman, they didn't have the knowledge, which is like kind of juxtaposition to those jnanis who have so much knowledge. They didn't have that kind of bookish knowledge, but they had that sincere desire to serve, and they're by no means perfect externally. Yet Prabhupada was said, "You are advancing." And it's not because they knew what Mahaprabhu looked like, but because they wanted to serve their guru. They had that sincere desire. And Krishna took care of the rest. And then I was also reflecting on like Gaur Purnima just happened, and Mahaprabhu had a very similar mood. And I was just really appreciating how in Kali Yuga, it's only that mercy that we don't have to show up as perfect. In fact, we're not expected to. That is not what our Gurujana is asking. They're just asking that we show up. And whatever happens after, they'll take care of us. It felt like as those I forgot what they were called, the brothers or the boys, they were offering this thing to Prabhupada. It's like a little kid, like a kindergartner offering their scribbles and misspelled words to their parents. And the parents are like very nice, very sweet. So in bhakti, that's all we have to do. Come as we are, show up as we are, and feel the unconditional love of our Gurujana and the Lord.
Nicely put, Shweta Manjari. I loved some of the words you used there. The one that stuck in my mind is bookish knowledge. That's a nice term. It sounds simple, but it has a deeper meaning. It's really nice. Keshav.
Thanks so much. So I just wanted to say that I just really liked how Prabhupada never like settled for like less. Like we were reading last week, I think, that someone suggested, oh, you should like write, oh, it's International Society for God Consciousness, because then it would be like more inviting, like, oh, you can like worship all types of gods. But also, I was just like he said that it was grave, and whenever he did lectures, he was like very strict because he didn't want like everything to become like I was reading one time that, or I heard somewhere that there are people golfing, I think, and doing some sport, and Prabhupada said that they're doing frivolous after like working so hard, like old people. Like the old people were playing golf. So he said they're acting frivolous. So I was just thinking that Prabhupada didn't want people to become frivolous or to like wind off, because he wanted them to be strict, because like when you become strict then you are able to like kind of concentrate and get the right outcome.
Yeah, Prabhupada felt sad to see people near the end of their life wasting time hitting a ball into a hole. It pained him to see that. It pained him to see that. Nice observation, Keshav. Thank you. Vivan.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So, something that I wanted to take away from our reading today was that I was just reflecting on the moment where Prabhupada was talking about for every sincere soul that came to him, there was always hundreds of challengers that were trying to go against him. And I just wanted to share something that I've seen in my day-to-day life and to other people that are also trying their very best to serve Krishna. And something that happens a lot is that people will always have something to say if you're doing something well. And in any field that you go, some people will always have something to say about that. And some people will have something to say in the wrong way as well, such as like, oh, they're being so sanctimonious, like they are not actually doing anything, but they're outwardly showing that, oh, I'm such a great devotee. However, inwardly they're not really doing anything. And well, one thing that I just wanted to reflect on is that we don't have to go out and do anything extraordinary to try to bring devotees in, because like I mean bring people into the movement, right? Because if we try to do that, we're essentially bringing people that are not ripe for the movement, and we're forcing it onto them. We're forcing it onto them and making them not feel natural in their environment. As Prabhupada said, is we're trying to leave everyone with a good impression. We're not trying to force anything down anyone's throat. And something that I think that we can see in Prabhupada's example as well is that Prabhupada did what he was accustomed to. He gave lectures the way he'd always done it. And the people who it really resonated with them, they kept coming back. He didn't have to, um, as I said, force anything down people's throats. The people that were already ripe and ready to receive this Krishna consciousness were, one, guided by Prabhupada's instruction, and two, guided by Krishna inside their heart to keep coming back and overall move forward in this movement. So yeah.
Thanks, Vivan. Where are you getting your vocabulary from?
Maharaj, so in English
You
class
read
at
a lot?
yeah, in
English
English
classes?
class in school, we have this thing called STEM words, where they use like prefixes and suffixes to teach us new words in class. So I'm trying to brush up a little bit on my vocabulary.
Sounds like it's working. I like the word sanctimonious. It's a nice word. Chaitanya Nitai Nam, Naminete, Namirhate, Shadamulinam, Dite Chere.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I was reflecting on the example of how the devotees, Keith and Howard and Wally, they all decided to uh, give Prabhupada a surprise, and they just did it out of the kindness of their hearts because they did noticed some things in the apartment that he was staying at were a little old or worn down. And earlier in the chapter as well, we had read that in chapter 18 that when Prabhupada was giving classes and he was advertising that he was giving daily classes at 6 in the morning, uh, they were all eager to attend. And I realized that's pretty much the verse Shushusho Shatadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanat. And that verse is taking action literally in that kind of example, because these boys all had that eagerness to just give him a surprise and serve him by making the whole apartment and everything really nice. And they were also, by doing that, by rendering service to Srila Prabhupada, got that pure, desire to be able to listen and hear Krishna Katha. And that kind of example really, I mean, having a practical example like that really inspires me as well, just because I know I can see it in action and see that it works. So I just really like that example that was pointed out there.
Thank you very much, Chaitanya. Very sweet reflection. Okay, Arav, Arna, and Haridas are the last three, and you get a minute and 18 seconds each.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I was reflecting on the last few paragraphs that we read, where Srila Prabhupada shows that the text shows that he was willing to survive on just boiled potatoes instead of what he was getting. What he actually ended up getting was, he felt very comfortable with even those simple meals, just chapatis, some rice, some dal. I feel if I had that position, I would be suffering. He sees that as very opulent for himself. And then also this 100-degree weather, and it reminded him about Vrindavan, which is obviously only something a Mahabhagavad like Srila Prabhupada can do, which is just so amazing. I was finding out. That's just a reflection.
Nice observations. You don't like rice stole chapatis?
Duh.
Huh? Okay, Arna, let's hear what you got.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Today, like, I really enjoyed how Prabhupada was like talking about, and like he was
Wait, what?
it was it was about like how he was showing that it's okay, and like how those like boys were like trying their best to show that they really enjoyed like what he was teaching, and like what he like they were learning from him, and that it's like to come as you are to like uh do devotional service to Krishna.
Yeah, we heard that echo of the verse, Yena Tena Bhakarina Mana Krishna Veshayat, that somehow or other help people to remember Krishna. That's the first thing. You can see it in action, right? Prabhupada was just encouraging just to think of Krishna, do some service. Nice observation, Arna. Okay, Haridas for the close.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I just want to say that Prabhupada was very determined in uh, following the instructions of his Guru Maharaj, that like the people at New York, they did not know anything about Krishna consciousness, and like we saw that they thought that Hanuman was a cat, but still Prabhupada was determined and he continued. He did not give up at any point. He could have just went to India on any ship again, but he still stayed and he persevered.
Yeah, it's a nice point. If you can imagine, you're if you're trying to give people the highest conception of God, and they're starting off with not knowing if Hanuman is a monkey or a cat. But he was willing to start at the very beginning with people and bring them up. Yeah, thanks, Haridas. That was really nice. Well, great session, everybody. We didn't waste any time, really. We did Bhagavad Gita. We had read a purport. We had discussion. It was really good. It's just a reminder to KTTVG, keep the transcendental vibration going. No reason not to, right? Thank you very much, Bhavana and the team for getting this together. Thanks for keeping everything going while we were away. We were just in Mayapur, Puri, and Vrindavan, and Youth Yatra is coming up. So anybody wants to come, better get your tickets while there's still airplanes flying in the sky. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev, Shri Shri Radhe Shyam, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram, Shri Shri Gauri Tai, Shri Shri Radha Golokananda, Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji, Shri Shri Radha Girdhari. If you so desire, please shower your blessings on everybody who joined Youth Jam today, everyone who thought about joining but was somewhere else so they couldn't come, anybody who happened to sleep through it, that they may always feel joyful to hear about Srila Prabhupada, to hear about Krishna's pastimes, to hear Bhagavad Gita again and again and again, And may everyone have compassion in their hearts for the fallen conditioned souls. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare
See you all next week.
Bo.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Gaur Premanande. Hare Bo.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.